What's up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
We're back at it to answer your gaming questions about anything that is gaming or 40k or anything related in For the Greater
War. So this is a video series where we answer the questions left by you. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. That is what CA, which is California, maybe, Redneck did. And he asks, what would happen to the galaxy if the orcs went back to being how they were in the War in Heaven, when the old ones created them?
Before you say the answer to that question, how were the orcs different then from what they are now?
So this, now that I'm working on the timeline video for Warhammer 40k, what I have found is that the mainstream sees that the orcs were always orcs, except they were kind of controlled by the old ones. The old ones were the brain boys. So in orc mythology, for the very few orcs that actually care about their mythology and origins, they hold this like class of people or orcs called brain boys, and those brain boys told the orcs what to do, who to fight, how to fight, and basically directed them, and the orcs complied. It is now believed that it was the old ones themselves who were the brain boys. When the old ones had to leave because of the whole plague, what's it called, the enslaver plague, and because of the War in Heaven, the orcs were left alone, so they reverted back to like just barbaric savages.
So is this when they were still called quarks?
Quarks, yep.
Okay.
And those brain boys, if they came back, that means that the old ones would come back. And what would that mean to the orc hierarchy? I don't really know if they can go back to not being savages. I don't know. I feel like they reverted back to savagery because there was no like command structure, and you would think that any race with a strong enough or just like a smart enough race would be able to keep the orcs in line and kind of like orchestrate them in a way where they can make them their own army, but nobody has.
Right. It's like, I was going to think, what's the word? Never mind. Continue.
So the Eldar couldn't do it. Humans couldn't do it. None of them could do it. I don't really know what the brain boys or the old ones were doing in order to maintain the orcs in line. Now, if they were to come back, I don't really think they can put the orcs back in line just because they're so vast and just spread out everywhere. So there's a bunch of them and they're just everywhere. To actually try to organize them would be almost impossible, unless you believe in that 50k theory that the Tau are going to end up somehow manipulating the orcs, right? To make them into a weapon.
Right, and if you manipulate the orcs, which are a threat already, if you have them systematically and organized into a fighting force, they could pretty much conquer the universe.
Right, because that's the whole thing about the orc race. If they were organized right now, the universe is done. They would be defeated.
I mean, think of a wall, but on a massive scale, and everybody fighting for one cause. No infighting, no feral orcs. Everybody's set on one objective. Now that's scary.
Yep. But yeah, that is something that I really want to play around with and kind of just theorize about what would happen or what the orcs were like back when they were quarks. Good question, though. Next question.
This one is by Stop Players. So I'm thinking about starting a Tau army, but I already have Space Marines. Is it possible to combine Space Marines and Tau into one thing?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe back in 7th edition, these were allies of convenience. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you could just twist the lore to make it still. So.
And that's done away with now, right? You can play with... Well, no, now you have detachments? No.
Yeah. Well, you have
command.
Yeah. Well, you have detachments, certain detachments that give you certain command points. So you could play 2 detachments of 2 different armies, but their command points are specific for each thing.
Yeah, so I think, what is it? The allies detachment or the ally thing does a -1 to your command points. Mm-hmm. But it's only 1 unit of that ally. But somehow you could, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could bring like 6, -1 counters, but then this army has to be so vast that it has to kind of counter that. So that's where the checks and balances come in.
If your play group plays like that. If not, you could just tell them, hey, can I play both of these armies? And they'll be like, nah. I'm pretty sure they'll say no. But, yeah. And then lore-wise, they fight against High Fleet Kraken.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. Next question comes from Dark Zentai. Should the Dark Angels battle cry be, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight? Is the lion asleep, though? Or is he just caged up in the rock?
I think he's asleep.
Oh, okay. Then yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty nifty phrase. Because Hakuna Matata, it means no worries if you're playing both sides. Which that's what Cypher does.
There you go.
So, yeah, let's make it that for now. This one's by Tom Thatch.
Thatch.
Yeah, Thatch.
Makes me want to say thick.
What are the orc gods, Gork and Mork? Are they a concept like that of the Eldar and the Chaos gods, or are they something else?
So they're a concept just like the Eldar gods, but they're not as strong as the Eldar gods or even as the Chaos gods, because not many orcs really care. Like, they believe in them, but that belief kind of like quickly goes away with, what can I kill?
Right. It's like the only real lore or the only real gameplay thing that has to do with these gods would be the Gorkanaut and the Morkanaut. Which, is that the same thing, or is it just...
No, they're two different things. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you gave it Gorkanaut, if you piloted a Gorkanaut, maybe it's close in range, and Morkanaut's in close combat.
That would be really cool, but no. Because I think who has that? I think the Skitarii have that with the Doom Crawlers. Like, depending on how close you are to an enemy, the gun changes.
Oh shit.
So, but that's really the difference between a Gorkanaut and a Morkanaut. The types of weapons that are on it. I think the Gorkanaut has a a shield.
Okay.
Next question comes from Joshua Guyland. How many Space Marines would it take, minimum, to conquer an entire planet? Depends on the planet.
Yeah. If it's like a agri world, they won't be that ready defensive-wise. So you could probably do it with, like, a squad.
Yeah. Maybe even one who's, like, very charismatic.
Right.
Because you have to remember that, or something that oftentimes gets overlooked, because whenever you think of Warhammer 40k, you think of, like, just shooting battles and stuff like that. But Space Marines are supposed to be the prime human. They're supposed to be, like, amazing to the point where they're really good at battle, and they're also good at another part of battle, which is, like, negotiating and all that kind of stuff.
Think Batman.
Basically, yeah. They're all Batman. Minus the money. Plus superpowers. Actually, they're more like Superman.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's kind of charismatic.
Without the flying.
But... yeah, well, yeah. There's a lot of butts and whatnot, but they're a very charismatic character.
And they can conquer an entire planet by just tricking the planetary governor.
Becoming bros.
So there you go. 1 is minimum. Now, if you're talking about Armageddon, that's another story. Next question. I have one from Fufufu. Why do Dark Eldar kill amongst themselves in their dimension when their numbers are always dwindling? The same reason you always eat sweets when you know you should be dieting. It's just that craving.
That urge.
To just, like, stab, stick, choke.
Grab, squeeze, twist, pull, bop it, spin it.
There you go. Next question.
Meowing Cat. Are you guys going to play Necromunda? Which gangs are you guys interested in using?
Yes. I really thought they were going to be sold out of the Necromunda, but I went to go pick it up for the giveaway, and then there's a bunch of boxes. So I'm going to definitely go back and buy a box.
Yeah. I'm not too sure which gangs I'm interested in. I've just scratched the lore, so I'm going to sit back and see which one appeals. But I do like the one that has Beastmen. I think I heard something about that. So
I think it's going to be the Scabies.
Scabies?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's going to be... like, I don't know if they're supposed to be units that you can add to, like, a bigger gang, or if they're a gang in itself. Same thing with the Ratskins. I don't know if the Ratskins are going to be, like, an enhancement, or if it's going to be a gang in itself. If you're an old school player and you know about that, comment down below. But for right now, all you have is the Escher and the Goliath gang, which is the big muscular dudes or the badass chicks.
Gotcha. So between those two, I gotta go with the chicks.
The chicks.
Chicks.
Oh, yeah. Next question comes from someone somewhere.
Is that really his name?
Yeah, that's a really good name. Why do salamanders never get more lore?
Because, like, half of them were captured by Trazy and the Infinite. The other half are dying. They're kind of just all over the place.
At most, there's like 100.
Yeah, at most. And they're out looking for Vulcan's legendary relics.
Basically.
Yeah.
Next question.
This one is by Ozrite Wolf. If the Emperor becomes a god of order by bringing order and being essentially a demon god, do you feel that it will divide humanity? As some may feel their god has fallen and then seek to split and thus stand apart from their peers. This is similar as to the Tau and their greater good, forcing, people's beliefs into being under one order. What do you guys think about this?
So if he became the god of order, I don't think the majority of the Imperium would rebel or try to fight against him, because that's basically what the Imperial Creed is saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like if Jesus came back. Well, people in the United States. Well, that Jesus is bad. Okay, fine. If Muhammad came, or no, what's his name? Allah. There you go. Well,
but isn't Allah? They're all.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that the Imperial Creed paints it that the Emperor will save you. So if he turns into a god, then he does become a savior, and the Imperial Creed, which is pretty much all over the Imperium, would be strengthened. The only people that would not be okay with it would be maybe certain members of the ecclesiarchy, certain members of the Space Marines, people who don't see the Emperor as like godly, but still use his godliness to his advantage, or to their advantage. Because now they can't, because now he is a god.
Right. That'd be weird. Say if this happened in 30k, because at 30k, obviously the Emperor was all about science, saying, nah, he wasn't a god. But what if instead of falling on the golden throne, he actually did elevate to godhood? Would that just completely erase everybody's prior thoughts to him and kind of put him as like a liar or a heretic or something like that?
At that point, yeah. Especially because the Space Marines, well, the traitor ones, were already kind of like mad at him. And now on top of that, now you have all the loyalists who say, you taught us that you weren't a god, and now you're over here shooting lightning bolts out of your eyeballs or something. Then,
yeah.
Even though a Space Marine librarian can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question. Do you have one?
I got one by Gilisa. What path do you think the Imperium must take to conquer the entire galaxy and kill all Xeno scum? So they definitely have to unite. Right now they're too kind of spread apart, and some planetary governors have their own agendas. The ecclesiarchy has its own thing. You've got Gilliman fighting his Indomitus Crusade. So right now they're kind of all over the place, but they kind of need to focus in on one kind of objective and like work hard and grind at it. Because right now they're being assaulted from everywhere. Yeah.
Last question. It comes from Manog.
Manog?
Yeah. What kind of government do the Eldars have? They don't really have a type of government. Well, I guess a council.
Yeah, they've got like well, unless you're talking about the what are they called? The Maiden Worlds. Because then they have their own thing going on there.
Yeah, I don't know what type of government the Maiden Worlds have, but I know for like the just the Eldar in general, the Craft World Spirit Stones kind of act as a collective council that talks to the Farseer?
Yeah, it's called a Seer Council.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We could have just said they have Seer Councils.
And those were the questions for this week.
That's today. Right. Yeah. If you guys have more questions for us, again, leave them down in the comments below. We do this 3 times a week. So, yeah.
Gersh1.
Sound Alchemist, and we're out of here.